Off the dark mirror of the Caribbean, a crisis unfolded. The synthetic aperture radar of a P-8 Poseidon detected 98 speedboats racing in unison, a massive, white-hot flow heading straight for North America. Each vessel carried over 6,000 pounds of pure cocaine with a street value estimated at $100 million. An unlikely shield was already in position, a U.S. Joint Task Force anchored by an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, Navy SEALs, and 2 Coast Guard cutters. Passive sensors were activated, weapons were cold. The armada of 98 speedboats, the largest drug fleet ever assembled, was charging directly into a narrow sea corridor. They believed they had outmaneuvered American surveillance, but they were entering a meticulously designed killbox. In just 27 minutes, the combined force would launch a devastating strike. The entire La Corona del Mar fleet would vanish. For years, the drug route through the Caribbean used familiar methods: submersibles and disguised cargo. Then, a terrifying new pattern emerged: a void where millions in product simply vanished. Over $100 million in cocaine departed the Colombian coast and evaporated without seizure, stunning the FBI Miami Command Center. Signal analysis yielded the name La Corona del Mar. This organization innovated drug transport, replacing single vessels with a unified fleet of 80 to 100 boats per run, moving like a synchronized pack. The vessels were ultralight composite, nearly invisible to standard radar, carried no AIS, and communicated only via low-frequency radio. The FBI's route map confirmed the operation. They fanned out from the Guajira coast and converged at an oceanic blind spot off Mexico's coast. This time, the payload exceeded 6,000 pounds. It was instantly clear: no single Coast Guard cutter could handle a swarm of nearly 100 speedboats moving at 50 knots. Chasing was impossible. Blocking was futile. To stop it, the entire fleet had to be intercepted at once, in one massive trap. The FBI requested special support, forming the Joint Maritime Task Force. Their mission, Operation Black Current, was the complete termination of the cartel's transport capability. In the command room, the Navy confirmed the logistical nightmare. 98 simultaneous speedboats at 55 knots would blind most long-range radars with chaotic heat signatures. The Navy offered the only viable solution: force them to enter a preset trap. The battlefield chosen was a meticulous killbox based on currents and terrain. Detailed charts revealed a narrow water corridor between 2 reef lines. The strong cross-currents forced any speedboat attempting to save fuel to maintain a straight, inflexible course. This corridor became the perfect natural bottleneck. Force preparation began immediately. The destroyer was the mothership for 12 elite SEAL operators. A high-speed LCS was deployed to seal off escape routes. 2 Coast Guard fast response cutters formed the final blocking layer. Overhead, the P-8 Poseidon stood ready with synthetic aperture radar. Disabling weapons were assigned to MH-60R Seahawk helicopters, carrying HITRON marksmen trained for inch-level precision. The FBI provided the key intelligence. 8 leaders of La Corona del Mar were positioned in the central group of boats, carrying the highest purity cocaine. The plan was executed silently. The destroyer ran a fake patrol, then shut off all active radars 2 hours before arrival, switching to silent mode. The killbox was set, a trapezoid where 98 speedboats would soon have no escape. As the Caribbean Sea lay flat, the P-8 Poseidon received the first signal. The radar detected multiple tiny heat dots moving in perfect sync, the cartel's patented rake formation. Poseidon pushed the target data to the task force. All 98 speedboats had left the Colombian coast exactly as predicted. They were completely dark, silent, and maintaining speed. The ships took their final formation, remaining in silent guidance. Inside the destroyer, the SEAL team stood ready. They understood the critical importance of patience. Fire too early, and the formation would scatter instantly, vanishing in less than 90 seconds. Poseidon reported the critical move. The cartel fleet widened left to avoid a reef line, the exact predicted maneuver. The cross-currents had done their job, forcing the fleet to charge directly into the death corridor. The heat signatures grew brighter. The cartel fleet shifted to saw running, trying to create complex heat reflection. They were not being chased. They were being lured, The lead speedboats crossed the boundary, entering the narrow current-choked corridor. 30 more followed. The P-8 reported, all holding formation, no turns. The moment officially arrived, all 98 speedboats were inside the killbox. On the SEAL commander's floor screen, the death corridor pulsed with 98 overlapping heat signatures. Completely unaware, the cartel had charged into the most sophisticated naval trap ever devised. With the sea silent, the order was given. An MH-60R Seahawk detached, diving low. The Hitron marksman locked onto the first target. Engine-piercing rounds left the barrel. The speedboat jerked. Its engine exploded in sparks, and it died instantly. 12 others shared the same fate in the next 70 seconds. As marksmen continued, some speedboats ignited. The cartel's use of highly flammable fuel meant one piercing round could turn an engine into a brief bomb. In the center of the chaos, the SEAL team waited for the fleet's momentum to break, then acted. 3 fast ropes dropped from the Arleigh Burke deck. SEALs slid down, landing directly onto the central speedboats, those carrying the FBI's priority leaders and heaviest cargo. Close quarters combat erupted. Cartel members panicked, jettisoning massive bales of cocaine overboard. Some drew crude guns, but the SEALs responded with stun grenades to disorient, followed by controlled bursts to neutralize helmsmen. On one central boat, SEALs instantly subdued the cartel commander, El Marino, stopping his desperate escape attempt. Pursuit continued as Coast Guard interceptor boats cornered the fleeing vessels. 2 tried circling out, only to be engine-pierced by the Seahawk marksman. The operation hit the 27-minute mark, and the La Corona del Mar fleet officially disintegrated. Command summary: 41 speedboats disabled, 39 seized intact, and 18 sunk. U.S. forces began recovery. Over 6,000 pounds of cocaine were secured. The greater value was in the electronics, backup GPS units, satellite phones, and low-frequency comms. Every device held intelligence the FBI could use to trace the international maritime network. All 8 FBI priority targets were transferred to the destroyer. The Caribbean Sea returned to stillness. The numbers revealed the true scale of the victory. 6,000 pounds of seized cocaine meant over 6 million doses would never reach U.S. soil. The satellite phones and offline GPS data were the real success. Within 48 hours, the FBI decoded thousands of coordinates, identifying warehouses and resupply points, unveiling a complete transport map. The cartel had lost their mobility, their dispersal ability, and their most precious asset, anonymity. Operation Black Current became a textbook interagency model: FBI intelligence, Navy assets, Coast Guard authority, and SEAL rapid action. The operation commander wrote simply, "No formation runs faster than a perfectly prepared killbox." It was a powerful affirmation of U.S. national defense capability. This silent operation proved that when military power, analytical intelligence, and interagency cooperation blend, no criminal organization is fast enough to escape.